KG Styles Astrology. I'm so glad you're here. December's astrology and energy is truly extraordinary. You'll need to stay relaxed and flexible, ready to shift as you're guided through the rapids. We're going to explore the key energetic drivers for this month, in which deep truths trigger a fateful turning, including the Gemini full moon with its grand water trine, a kite pattern, numerous electrifying oppositions, the 3 stationary directs that are happening, the 1212 gateway, as well as the Sagittarius New Moon, its T-square patterns, and a finger of God or Yod pattern, and the solstice energies. All these energies are activating the threshold to the 2026 new year. This month, you're taking your foot off the brakes and beginning to accelerate. Before we begin, I want to thank you for tuning in and liking, sharing, and subscribing, and leaving your comments. I'd really love to hear from you what's happening for you at this extraordinary time. Also wanted to mention that I've published new blogs for the higher chakras, along with grounding cord exercises that are especially important right now. Links are included below for you to explore. The axis of the Gemini full moon and the Sagittarius new moon is the polarity between the 3rd and 9th houses. Gemini, the 3rd house, represents your conscious mind, your perceptions, attitudes, and judgments. These lunations call you to integrate and balance your intellect, what you consider the facts of your life, with your higher mind and your beliefs, represented by Jupiter, 9th house. The Gemini full moon is the pole of the axis needing release, so that a new cycle at the Sagittarius new moon can initiate new beliefs and expand your consciousness. The Gemini full moon is not a standalone event. Its activation points began at the 29 degrees Scorpio new moon 2 weeks ago. We're in an unfolding shadow clearing portal that is karmic and emotional. The Gemini full moon chart is built on 3 simultaneous geometries: a grand water trine, a kite, and the Gemini full moon itself, which illuminates everything for integration. Also, Saturn, stationed direct on November 27th, Mercury, the ruler of Gemini, stationed direct on November 29th, and Neptune stations direct on December 10th. When planets station, they are most potent in their effect. The Gemini full moon emphasizes the fact that we've reached a point of no return. So let's start with the grand water trine that was activated last month and is still active. It's being reactivated. Notice the blue triangle in the chart. This chart was cast for the west coast of the U.S., so ignore the ascendant and focus on the trine. You can look in your own chart to see what house this trine is happening, what houses this trine is happening. The players for this grand water trine are Jupiter at 24 degrees Cancer, Saturn at 25 degrees Pisces, and Neptune at 29 degrees Pisces. Venus recently crossed over the 29 degrees Scorpio point, reactivating the grand water trine, and is still within orb. Next, we'll have Mercury exactly conjunct the 29 degrees Scorpio on December 11th, the day before the 1212 gateway. This grand water trine helps you feel emotionally safe and supported if you can tap into it. It's the calm current that's running beneath all the rapids happening now, a steady current of support you can tap into. If you have moments of feeling extreme tension, just relax, slow down, and allow yourself to feel supported. Now let's talk about the kite. Again, focus on the blue lines in the chart. Notice there are shorter sextile lines from Jupiter in Cancer to Sedna and Uranus, and from Neptune and Saturn in Pisces. A kite is a grand trine that has found a direction, you might say. The head is the direction, and a rudder, the tail, represented by the tail, helps you to navigate the currents you're passing through. The head of the kite is the apex, Uranus at 28 degrees Taurus and Sedna at 1 degree Gemini. Uranus and Sedna provide the breakthrough needed now. Together, they represent massive evolutionary shifts in consciousness and timelines. Awakening can come through shocking surprises and suffering. The tail of the kite, the root, Mercury at 22 degrees Scorpio and Venus at 4 degrees Sagittarius, fresh out of Scorpio. This is where the real work needs to happen. Deep emotional truths may be surfacing. There can be shadow revelations. You may be experiencing karmic purification. Old fear and attachment to scripts may be running. What's your story? The repeating pattern in your life. The tail of a kite represents the emotional truth that must be integrated. Mercury hits the 29-degree Scorpio on December 11th. This is when you can complete the integration. Something about your story or your perception about it can shift. So the real message of the Gemini full moon reveals the truth that may be sharp or unsettling, but you are being held by a grand water trine that softens the edges and carries you above the fear. Stay heart-centered, relax, slow down. The fulcrum of this entire chart is the 29-degree Scorpio. Mercury and Venus sit at the tail of the kite, carrying the emotional truth of that Scorpio degree. Uranus and Sedna stand at the apex, releasing the insight, the breakthrough, and awakening. The Gemini full moon shines awareness on what needs integration. The Gemini full moon's opposition with the Sagittarius sun and a wide conjunction with Mars aims you toward meaning and alignment. But the real shift happens when Mercury crosses the 29-degree Scorpio on December 11th, the day before the 12/12 gateway. Don't rush, don't collapse into mental noise. Stay in your heart, trust the process, and let the deeper integration unfold. You are unconditionally loved, supported, and being guided toward a new destination, even if you cannot see where it leads. So now let's look at the 12/12 gateway. On December 12th, the day after Mercury crosses the 29-degree Scorpio new moon point, we have the 12/12 gateway. On this day, the Virgo moon at 28 degrees opposes Saturn and Neptune in Pisces and squares Mars and the Galactic Center at 28 degrees Sagittarius, forming a T-square. This Virgo moon also forms a supportive Earth trine with Uranus and Sedna. December 12th is a highly charged, highly karmic 28-degree activation window. The Virgo moon at 28 degrees activates a spiritual purification test that aligns with the 12th chakra vibration, Christ consciousness. The T-square with Mars at 28 degrees Sagittarius at Galactic Center is a tension point. You are forced to make a clear choice. What choice are you being asked to make now? What test are you undergoing personally? The Virgo moon trine to Uranus and Sedna is a stabilizing current. It helps you to ground your intuitive guidance into heart-centered awareness. This trine is what makes the 12/12 gateway feel like a lift to a new embodiment, not simply the collapse of old paradigms. Your focus can shift from what's departing to what's arriving on your doorstep. The 12/12 gateway is a day of integration. This is the day you either rise into a higher timeline or stay in fear loops, clinging to the old, getting lost in mental noise, avoiding the emotional integration called for now and missing the frequency shift. The 1212 gateway is the integration point of everything that's unfolded since the 29-degree Scorpio new moon. The Virgo moon, Trine Uranus, lifts the entire experience, helping you rise above, let go of fear, mental noise, and shadow voices into heart-centered clarity. The South Node in Virgo helps you to let go of your past. This is the gateway into the 12th chakra, Christ consciousness, frequency, and the next dimension of your soul's unfolding. This is not a day for forcing or rushing. It's a day for surrender, trust, and grace. Relax, slow down, stay heart-centered. Let the dross fall away. A new beginning arrives with the Sagittarius New Moon in a week's time. Prepare by letting go. Now let's focus on the Sagittarius New Moon. The Sagittarius New Moon is exact at 5:43 p.m. Pacific on December 19th at 28 degrees 25 minutes of Sag. Look to the right of the chart to see the stellium of planets. Again, this chart is cast for the west coast of the U.S., so ignore the house placements. Look in your own chart to see what houses the Sag New Moon is happening. The Sag New Moon is conjunct Galactic Center and Venus in Sag, and trine to Chiron and Eris in Aries. You can see them at the top of the chart. A finger of God, a yod, also known as a finger of fate, is pointing to the Sagittarius New Moon from Jupiter in Cancer and Uranus at 28-degree Taurus and Sedna 1-degree Gemini. Look at the green etched line coming from Uranus and Sedna at 11 o'clock and Jupiter in Cancer just beneath at about 9 o'clock position. The Sag Moon is square to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. See all the numerous red lines, square lines from the stellium of planets in Sag to Neptune and Saturn and Pisces near the top of the chart. This chart screens for you to break the old patterns and step onto the path you are actually meant to walk. Everything is pointing at this new moon that activates destiny for you and the Earth Collective. This is the point where you realize you can't keep living inside old stories. This is the final fire activation of the year, and because it's so close to Galactic Center, it acts like a cosmic reorientation point. The trine to Chiron and Eris in Aries at the top of the chart indicates the healing, Chiron, of fractured identity, Eris. This indicates that empowered truth-telling can result on an individual and collective level. This can look like the resolution of a healing crisis, your identity being reorganized, a new level of sovereignty coming online, reclaiming lost pieces of yourself that you had abandoned long ago. Now, let's look more deeply at the yod, finger of God, or fate. The quincunx, in conjunct with Jupiter in Cancer, forms one side of the finger of God. The Jupiter in Cancer part of the yod expands your emotional intelligence, ancestral memories, and deep-rooted patterns of staying safe. Maybe you hid yourself in some way to stay safe. Questions to ask yourself: are you carrying the emotional expectations of your lineage? Do you carry an old caretaker pattern that doesn't fit you now? Do you need to change your emotional reflexes? This yod pattern points to giving yourself permission to outgrow your past. The second quincunx from Uranus and Sedna completes the yod, the finger of God, your destiny point. You can experience sudden liberation in your values, finances, or feelings of self-worth. This part of the yod says your body must update to match the new consciousness. Old trauma lodged in your nervous system can suddenly get released. You're freed from scarcity coding and karmic contracts. Your physical story and soul story are forced to align. Sadhana adds the karmic signature. Truth that has been ignored must be integrated now. The yod finger of God points directly at the Sagittarius New Moon, marking the Sagittarius New Moon as the main ignition point for this yod. The Sagittarius New Moon's conjunct Galactic Center and Venus amplify this activation. The message is clear. Your soul wants a new trajectory, and your old emotional patterns won't take you there. Next, we have the square to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. This is where you must get real with yourself. Saturn is boundaries, form, and reality. Neptune is dissolution and surrender. Neptune connects you to the invisible realms. Together, Saturn and Neptune demand discernment, spiritual maturity, letting go of fantasy contracts, and ending coping mechanisms that keep you small. This square from the Sag New Moon cuts through delusion. This is a moment when you see truth that you can't unsee. Saturn-Neptune force you to release all the avoidance structures you've been using to sidestep your actual calling. Major adjustments and realignments are called for. The energetic character of this new moon points to a consciousness shift. It says you are now completing a year-long initiation of identity. You can't keep living in any aspect of yourself that was built from survival patterns. Your intuitive gifts and higher knowing are your new compass for navigating life's currents. You must change your perspectives so that a new storyline can open for you in 2026. This is the moment when you walk out of the old world and into the new. The Sag New Moon is at the threshold of the solstice and opens your path forward into 2026 and beyond. But you must choose to integrate a completely new awareness about yourself and choose to step onto the unknown path that's opening before you. Well, that's it for today's show. Take a few quiet moments at the full and new moons and the 12-12 gateway to connect with these transformative energies. Feel into the gifts being offered. Set your intentions, then release, and let yourself be guided. For more helpful details about the Gemini Full Moon and Sagittarius New Moon, plus guided meditations, essential oils, and gemstones to work with, and archangels to call upon, check out my Astrology Survival Guide using the links below. My friend shamanic astrologer Kaylin Castell and I are doing a couple of new shows in December that you'll want to keep on your radar. The first one is the Venus cycle, which is all about timing for things you love in life, like the flow of romance, relationships, and money. A new Venus cycle will begin in 2026. You don't want to miss this special show. We'll also do a special solstice show in which we'll review how far we've come and where we're headed. Stay tuned for these new features in December. I'd love to hear how these energies are showing up for you, what's happening for you. Share your insights in the comments below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a show. Until next time, take care and trust your inner knowing.